so much for joining us for another edition of the Bloody Legends with Jai, that Aussie metal guy, and Jim Taylor, brought to you by crank.com. Make sure you're a bloody legend and hit that like and subscribe.
G'day, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here, and Jim Taylor with the Bloody Legends. And tonight, wherever you are in the world, it's a great bloody pleasure that we're getting to have a chat with Wednesday 13. The bloody legend we have on tonight, he is known for his electrifying stage presence and spine-chilling music. Wednesday 13 has been a force to be reckoned with the world of horror-inspired rock and metal. After the success of his latest 2022 album, Horrifier, and a series of unforgettable tours. He's always touring. He's back with his latest creation, Mid-Death Crisis, which does describe me at the moment in my 40s, dropping April 25th through Napalm Records. Wednesday, thank you so very, very much for joining me, my friend.
Thank you for having me. I'm day off here on the tour bus, and it's a day of talking about myself. So let's get into it. Let's talk about me.
Mid-Death Crisis, it's an absolute ripper of an album. I'm lucky enough to hear it. Jim, unfortunately, has only heard the single off it. But it's an absolutely rockin' bloody rager, man. It does have some real classic Wednesday 13 vibes in there as well. And the rock absolutely rules. Can you tell me a little bit about the songwriting process and the direction of this album?
It's crazy. 20 years into this, I'm looking back at the beginning of it. It's like I experimented for the last few records, and the band, did some heavier stuff. But with this record, I wanted to kind of go back to what I did in the beginning. So I went back with that sort of mindset, and we switched our lead guitar player out. We've had for years, and that just sort of changed the whole vibe. And I went back and started writing the music, and ended up playing guitar on the whole album. And I haven't done that several recordings, and I don't know, it's just everything kind of reminded me of when I first started doing this, so it just instantly turned out that way. So if you hear a little bit of the earlier sounds and stuff, I think it's just because it was happening that way.
Oh, damn straight. And it was funny that you mentioned that, because this album here, the old Transylvania 90210 album, I bought that forever ago when that first came out as well. And I was listening to this album, and I'm like, man, this is some hella Transylvania vibes, but something new. A couple of these tracks there, I feel really harken back to some of that earlier stuff off those first couple of albums there as well. They're absolutely raw.
Good. I felt the same thing. I felt it was, this album could have fit anywhere on the first three, but I really thought about the first one, and just, I don't know. I wasn't trying to repeat it or try to copy it completely. I just wanted to, I just had such a fun time doing that recording. I think that's what I wanted to capture. Anything was more like just the spirit of it was such a good time. It was carefree. I didn't feel like I could do anything wrong, and there was no limit to anything. I just wrote what I wrote. Like the Ghost of Vincent Price song was just a silly song. I literally just said that one day, and out loud, I went, write a song about it. And I did, so I just, the same way with this album, I just had fun with it, and it reminded me of when I first started doing this.
Exactly, those songs like "I Hurt You," "My Funeral," Xanax to see.
I made that word up, so it's still hard for people to say, but it's a
Xanax
word.
It's a really cool
Xanax. So it's ecstasy is like Xanax. So.
And it does kind of describe our generation as well. You did have Alex Kane produce Mid-Death Crisis. What was it like working with him? Have you worked with him before? And how did his work kind of influence the shape and sound of the album?
He just made it fun. We had a good time. I've known Alex for a long time. I met Alex. His band was supporting Murder Dolls on our very first tour, his band Anti-Product. And I knew Alex from before that. Like, he was in his band Life, Sex, Death from the early 90s, and then he had a history, like he was an original member of Enough's Enough. So I'm being a glam rock guy, I just I thought that was really cool. And he really came in originally just to help engineer the record, and 4 or 5 days into it, I was like, this guy's producing this. And I just pulled him aside, and I was like, you should just produce this, just keep doing what you're doing. And he was just friendly, asking, hey, this from, so yeah, I gave him the producer hat, and we went on with it, and we made a fun record. It just every day we went in and would work. We spent a whole month working on it. We spent 11, 12 hours a day and just go in the studio and lock ourselves in. And it was summer band camp, and we made a cool record.
Yeah, it is a really cool record. It has a great fun sound to it. Speaking of the glam rock and the glam metal kind of stuff, you did have Faster Pussycats Tame Down appear on the No
Yeah.
Apologies track, which absolutely rules. Tell me about working with him.
Another killer opportunity,
Yeah.
being able to play with one of my musical influences. Again, I'm an 80s kid. And, when I first started getting into music and discovering some of the rock bands, Faster Pussycat was one of the first bands on my radar. And I had their cassette when I was, 1987. So, it was just something that I was into. And when I started playing guitar, I started learning how to play their songs. And I kind of, learned all my tricks and stuff off of their records. So flash forward to, last year recording a song with him. It's crazy. I got to be in a band with one of my rock and roll heroes for a while. And we made
That's
a great
brilliant.
song. It fits Tammy perfect. And it's something I'm really proud of. This is just as important as having Alice Cooper on my record a few years ago. And it's just a cool thing. And for my younger fans, maybe they'll go check out Faster Pussycat and see where I got some of my stuff from.
That's so cool because, like, I always so Wednesday, my introduction to you was Look What the Bats Dragged In,
Yes.
which to me felt like, and you're your own distinctive sound, but you can't help but like hear influences.
Yeah.
For me, it sounded like if Alice Cooper and Motorhead had a band.
Little bit, little bit.
And I just remember ba ba bum ba ba bum ba 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 ba, nasty guitar riff. I'm dying, and as soon as I was like, oh my god,
Right.
dude. uh, so like, did was that that whole record? Not 90210 Transylvania 90210 was that you and Joey, or how did that genesis come
No,
about?
it's all him.
That was
That was
all
all
me.
Wednesday. Yeah, dude. I caught you
Okay.
guys way back, dude. I was rocking out to you back 2010, Frankenstein Drag Queen, dude, and then
Yeah.
your Murder Doll stuff, and then I caught
Yeah.
you guys, lucky enough to caught you guys back at the big day out, like fucking forever ago, and you absolutely tore it up.
Nice.
You guys were the main band I was there to see, and lucky enough to catch you guys in at Soundwave as well. But then I caught you a
Yeah.
few times at Soundwave and a few other performances. You've always had a pretty close relationship with Australia. Like, what's the chances of you kind of getting back here next year? I know you're rounding out this year. You have so many fucking tours to round out the year, but what's the chances of getting you back down under next year?
Indeed.
We're looking at September, the earliest we'd be back, and maybe if not then, it would be early January. So it's very soon after the record's out. So Australia is always a top place we put on the list. So we'll be back there soon, and it's exciting. I mean, I've been fortunate to be playing there almost every year since 2010, except the exception of COVID. We were there every year. So I'm excited. My fans are killer there, and I know they're gonna like this record. And with you saying it reminds you of the first album, I think this is going to be even better. So I'm glad that you said that.
Yeah, and I loved your introductions to the albums as well that you always set up. And There's No Such Things as Monsters kind of does set the tone
Yes.
for the album as well. It kind
Vincent,
of was.
it's very Vincent Price. I love that.
Yeah, I just wanted, I mean, I'm a 80s kid. I went to video stores on the weekends and rented movies, and I wanted my album to look like something you'd pick off the video store then, and the album cover looks like that. And the music just sounds like a soundtrack to that weekend of the movies you rented. And that's kind of what I do. I specialize in it. I'm not doing anything new on this album. I just focused on what I do best. And so it's crazy 20 years into the game. You're find yourself going back, reading, going, wow, how did I do this in the beginning? How did I start doing this? Because it wasn't planned. This wasn't planned. Like your question
Right.
earlier, how did I start writing that record? When Murder Dolls took a break, I knew I had to either go back and do my day job or keep doing this. So I started writing music every day. I wrote that entire record by myself in my basement, and I demoed the whole thing, and that was it. And then I went, oh, okay, well now I'm going to go record it. So I got a drummer to play on the record, and I played every instrument on that first
That's
album,
so
except for
brilliant,
the
dude.
drums. I play everything on it. So
That's
that's how I
sorry,
created
brother.
it,
That's
and
amazing. That's
so
mind blowing to me.
but
Uh,
that was fun for me, and it was and it showed that I wanted to not go back to a real life job so bad. I worked and created that
You
record. And
believed in that
I believed in me.
record so
I
much.
believed in me enough to
That's
do
right,
it.
sir.
So,
That's
yeah.
right, sir. Indeed.
And that's a good message for anyone else watching this as well. Believe in yourself. If there's something you want to bloody do. This album, though, Wednesday, it does feature music entirely written by you. So there's probably how did that differ from the last couple of albums you've made? And it must have been good to kind of go back and kind of do that as well, considering that's what you've done at the start as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was just like I said, going back and looking how I did it in the very beginning, and this record was the first record without our longtime guitarist that we've had for the last 10, 15 years in the band. So and he was a big part of the writing process. So every time we write the last few records, it would be he and I sitting in a room and bouncing ideas off each other. And this time he wasn't there, so I went back with what I did in the very beginning. I went, all right, well, I want to write this by myself. Can I write a record? It was a question. Could I write a record like that again? So I was just set the challenge up for myself, did it. And then when I wrote the music, then I brought the band in and went, all right, here's my idea. Because I didn't want to do the typical demos. I didn't want to do a drum machine. I wanted a real person. So I had the songs, wrote them in my head, and then brought the band over and went, all right, now let's work on the ideas. And then we did it like we've always done. Everybody does their part, and everybody, I did play guitar on the record, did all my vocals and stuff, but I haven't played guitar on my records in a long time either. So that was a fun thing again too. So just so many different elements. I don't know if the audience would know it right away, but for me, it was just little things in the studio that I haven't done in a while that just made it different and just more fun. I just try to have fun at this point in the game, because I've been doing this for such a long time, and it can become a job. And the whole point of doing this was to not have a job, no responsibility.
Right.
Yeah, well, I was smiling, rocking out all the way through this, as I am of most of your albums, Wednesday. Can you tell me a little bit about the closing tracks off of this Sick and Violent?
Yeah, I mean, my last few albums kind of ended with a slower song or a softer kind of more, I guess, an anticlimactic.
Yep.
And this time I wanted to do I wanted this album to end the way one of our live shows would end, and it sounds like that. It sounds like you're at a live show, and it was wrote as the last song. It had to be the last song on the record, and it was just fun. And yeah, it was pretty simple. I went and saw the band The Damned in Los Angeles, and I came home and I came home and I was so inspired. I picked up my guitar and I wrote that song, and that was because I saw a cool rock show, and so that was an influence of that. It was simple, and wrote it, and it's one of my favorites. The last three songs in this record are I like them as much as the first three. So that's a good problem to have. I don't normally have records like that where I like everything. So this is everything turned out good on this.
Damn straight, and you are on tour at the moment. With Stitched Up Heart and Dead Rabbits, you did appear on a Hellscape EP. You did a performance. Tell us about that one, because I was checking that one as well out through the week as well. It did drop in February. Kind of missed my radar.
Yeah, everything happened so quick. That came out right before our first single, and they're one of the bands that's supporting us, and they asked me to be a part of it. I thought it'd be a cool way to promote the tour, and then and the producer that was on that track was a guy I recognize his name, a guy named Howard Benson, who had his name on all these old glam rock albums that I love. So it was a cool opportunity to do this track. It was just to work with a producer that I knew all the records he had worked with. So that was a fun little thing for me, and it was a cool experience. And the song turned out great, and a lot of cool reactions, and it put me in a different world with that band, because the Dead Rabbits features Craig from Escape the Fate, and they have their own following and a whole other thing. So
interesting.
Yeah, just trying to branch out and get other eyes on what I do, because I tell people all the time, I'm like, I've never heard your band. I'm like, we're your favorite band, and you don't even know it.
Yes.
It's kind of the state of the bloody music scene at the moment, though, isn't it? Like, there's so many great bands out there. It's just trying to keep up with them. But you guys, for me, user in legendary status Wednesday 13, mate.
Indeed,
music, you've been around long enough. You've made some fucking amazing music, and you've definitely made an impact on my life as a heavy metal music media dude, doing what I'm doing today, man. You are finishing up. You still have a whole bunch of tours besides that one I mentioned. You've got Summer Blood Storm, which is UK, Europe, heading back over there as well with Fearless Vampire Killers. And that will round out the year for you. The album does drop 25th of April. It is an absolute ripper, mate. Do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to add in there? Sign out.
Australia, we're coming for you. You'll see us very soon. So you're on the list. So learn those lyrics. We want you to sing them loud when we get to them.
Damn straight, won't be a bloody problem. Everybody go out, grab some Wednesday 13, chuck it in the stereos, crank it up really bloody loud because the neighbours are going to want to rock the fuck out as well. Cheers, mate.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Oi, you're tuned in to Jai That Aussie Metal Guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.